Hello all and welcome to TaleInferno. My name is Charlotte and today we are talking about metaphors and similes. Now when I was younger, I never could differentiate between the two. I just did not know the difference between similes and metaphors. I understood similes perfectly. Metaphors, there was no knowledge. I had nothing. Now I hope after all of these years of studying, I should be able to differentiate the two. And if I can't, well, I'm going to look like a fool and you guys can tell me all about it. A really good way to start differentiating the two is looking at metaphors almost being like a parent to similes. There are other types of children that sit under metaphors, which are things like hyperbole and metonymy. Hyperbole is all about, pretty much exaggerating things, and metonymy is all about substituting names of things in regards to objects. Kind of. Really, those are really basic descriptions. We're not talking about them today, so I'm not going to go into them. However, go look them up yourselves if you're interested. So I guess the best way to start talking about metaphors and similes is to start talking about the similes, since I feel pretty confident that I know what they are. So let's get cracking onto similes. Now, similes are very similar to the word similar. Basically, that's pretty much it. Similes are used to describe a likening to something else, where something is similar but not the exact same as something else. A good example of this is when people, for example, in writing or even in movies or so forth, whatever, in any kind of creative writing or storytelling, they describe people's eye colors, and things could be like, for example, mine could be blue like the ocean, or someone's eyes could be as green as the leaves outside my window. Things like that. Like, you're describing something not as they are. Like, it would be frightening if someone's eyes were leaves. They're not the exact representation of it. They are something that is similar to it. You're taking one aspect of something and comparing it and providing that imagery so people can actually depict that in their minds. Another good way to differentiate similes to metaphors are the words that surround it. So if people are using the word like when describing something, or even using the word as to describe something, then that's generally a simile. Again, it's because it's making that it's similar to, it's likened to kind of comparison, rather than saying this is exactly what it is. This is the exact representation. This is exactly how it should be. Now, I'm not saying that particular description because metaphors are the exact representation, because that's not necessarily the case. Metaphors, as a definition, basically is where one thing is described in terms of another. For example, someone who is going through a lot of emotions may be described in that moment as being hit by a wave of emotions. Now, the subject really is the emotion, so that's what they're feeling. Now, it's an idea. We can't actually see emotions, technically. I mean, you could probably see them on people's faces. However, in this term, it's an idea, it's a concept. By describing them as being hit by a wave of them, that is, I suppose, the description. It's what makes it, we can conceptualize that in our minds. We can say, okay, so it's like, it's hitting them. It's like a wave hitting them. And another one for emotions that's a cliche and people use it a lot is the whole roller coaster of emotions description, where people are like, okay, so there's a lot of ups and downs. By saying that, you start to actually get people being able to picture and get vivid imagery in their mind to be able to understand what you're saying. It takes complex things in life and makes it less complex to understand. On the other side, metaphors are great to provide clarity. And one of my favorite things to do, particularly when it comes to teaching, is being able to provide a metaphor to help someone understand a concept. Like, for example, say someone doesn't really understand what grammar is in regards to language. I could sit here and be like, well, of course I know what grammar is, but there might be people out there who don't necessarily understand it. Say, for example, I'm talking to someone who just is in love with botany or trees or nature, okay? They know all about that kind of stuff. I could sit here and tell them, well, language and grammar are together because of blah, 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 blah. But I might not be speaking the language that they would understand. They understand things like trees and stuff like that. So I could make a metaphor such as language is a forest where grammar is the trees. Now, we might sit there, that's a terrible metaphor, let's be honest. That's just off the top of my head. But it might provide some clarity to them. They might go, oh, okay, so language is like the abundance. People will see a forest and they'll be able to identify a forest. I can identify language. I can see that there is a lot of language. Like, forests exist, language exists. But I can identify trees. I can see trees. And those are the different rules. Like, grammar is the distinct trees that make the forest. And there's your metaphor. It can provide clarity to allow people to understand a concept that they just don't understand. Now, when it comes to storytelling and all of that kind of stuff, just like everything in life, you shouldn't use them all the time. Like, if every one of your sentences is a simile after a simile, after a metaphor, stop. Why, you might ask? Well, because similes, or more metaphors than anything, but similes can also have this effect. It provides a defamiliarization effect on people. So people have to start changing their ways of thinking to actually get these images in their mind. You're taking a concept that has a definition that people will generally understand, and you're suddenly giving them another way of thinking about it. You're challenging the normal ways of thinking about it. If you're constantly shoving weird, different, non-normal things in their faces for them to try and conceptualize, they're not going to understand the point of your story. They're going to just be constantly trying to figure out what your metaphor is, or what your simile is, or what that image is. It's going to bulk down their brains. It's going to bulk down that canvas in their mind to show them exactly what's going on. And you're going to disconnect. They're just going to become disorientated. They're going to need to take a break. And you don't want that to happen. So, as I said, just like anything in life, use them when necessary. Make that decision. If you are able to describe things in simple, basic terms, sometimes that's more beautiful than a carefully crafted metaphor or simile. So just consider that, and maybe keep similes and metaphors to the important parts of your story, not to just the minute things. Basically, that's what metaphors and similes are. I hope that this has helped you guys in differentiating them. If not, or I've just not given the right definition, let me know and I will try my best to fix that. Make sure to like this video and subscribe to the TaleInferno YouTube channel if you'd like to see more video content like this. Or go check out the TaleInferno website at www.taleinferno.com. Go to check out other blog posts and reviews and to ignite the story within yourself. That's it from me. Remember to ignite the story, and I'll see you again soon. Bye!